Hey, it's MK and I am here with Christy's Beautiful Life 30 Days of Sketches. This is the sketch that I will be trying to recreate today. What I have here is the National Park watercolor paper kit. This was actually sent to me by a subscriber. Thank you so very much. I enjoyed every bit of this paper and it is almost gone. So it is by Scrapbook Customs at scrapbookcustoms.com if you guys are interested in this cute little collection. And it has a couple cool cut aparts. So I plan on using this signpost today in mine. And I picked out this watercolory, well, all the papers are watercolory, but I picked out the wood grain with this gorgeous plaid on the back, as well as this beautiful tree line with this gorgeous green. I have a little bit of this mesh that I absolutely love using with all of my outdoor layouts. The one thing I don't like about it is that the two outside stitches have wire in it, so I do make sure that I cut that out. I don't try to use it with the wire. Here is another look at the sketch by Peace Craft Love that we will be working with today. And then I have a few tree ring pieces that were cut out of a really old Creative Memories paper kit. I don't even know what the name of the kit was called. And then from a Close to My Heart boy collection, I punched out a couple leaves, but I plan on inking them to get them to where they're not so bright. I also have this pre-made cluster that I created during one of our cluster classes that is still going on, but we only have 2 sessions left as of today. And then I have another scrap of the paper collection that I've been using throughout the class. And then I have 2 photos. Now, I ended up taking the background of this layout and flipping it, but I left the photo orientation. Now, instead of having 2 small photos, I only have 1 small photo and then 1 4x6 photo. So what I'm doing now is just inking up the edges of all of these cute little leaves. I did end up ripping some of them. I'm not even worried about it because I do end up actually taking them apart to make them work for my layout. And because I used Distress ink, I threw a little bit of water on there to get that watercolor look. And now I'm just adding some gold splatters to my leaves as well to match the gold that is in the cluster. Now, this cluster that I created was, in fact, a more of a stay-at-home type of collection that I used and all that good stuff. So I wanted to challenge myself and use it on an outdoor layout because it just says family together. And that is exactly what we are. There's no icons that we're together at home or we're together at the dinner table or we're together, anywhere about being home. It just says family together. So I thought it was perfect, especially since I added the gold leaves, to use these photos. Now, these photos were taken in front of a ranger station right before we got on the trail to go see the Devil's Post piles. If you guys haven't seen those, oh my stars, they're amazing and just beautiful. Oh my gosh, what nature does for itself is awesome. So anyways, I did not want to use up all of that watercolor wood grain. So I went ahead and just cut a chunk of it off after ripping out the section of this paper. Now, I did do this because I loved this green oh so very much that I wanted to be able to use it as my photo mat. But I also love the fact that now I have that ripped edge and I was like, oh my gosh, all the work is done for me. But I don't like the white part sticking out. So I am going to just rip off a little bit so that way that white edge isn't sticking out so obviously. So, and then I do end up trimming it down a little bit more just because I didn't want that much green on the edges. I wanted it more up on the top and at the bottom. And then the same with the smaller photo, but I didn't cut the photo straight, so I do have to go back and trim off a little bit more, just so that way it fits on my little green piece. So I love using collections like this where both sides, front and back, and getting the most out of my papers, even though I only pull in 2 or 3 papers every layout that I do. It's my jam. It's what I do. I get confused or overwhelmed is the better word when I pull out too many papers to work with, and then I only end up going with one or two pieces of paper. Now here's where I'm cutting off one side of the wire. I think I end up keeping the other side for some reason, probably because it wasn't wide enough. For my, now it's probably a 6 by 4.5 piece of photo mat. But I haven't decided how I want to add this texture to my layout just yet. I'm still working it in, and then in the end, it does end up becoming part of my photo mats because I like having that texture. I like having, I don't know, just having that feel on my layout. So I'm going to go ahead and add it. And the best part about this is now I don't have to add foam to add dimension because the string-a-thing, the netting, actually does add the dimension for me on, for behind the layout or my photos. So that way I don't have to worry about adding any kind of a foam. I do have to add foam to my pre-made cluster because now my photos do sit up a little higher, and I want that cluster to sit on top of my photos rather than behind it. So I'm going to go ahead and use tear and tape to adhere these textures because I feel like the tear and tape is a good strong hold, and I don't have to wait for liquid glue to set in before it dries. I always seem that liquid glue, unless you have pressure put on it until it's dried, that it just sits there on itself and then dries and it hardens, but yet it doesn't do any sticking. There's no adhesion going on. So I like tear and tape. It's an instant gratification thing for me. Plus I don't have to sit there and hold it. Now I do have very little room. I didn't cut my wood grain wide enough. So I have very little room to work with to make this a 12 by 12 or a 12-inch wide background. So I do have to use some washi tape just to cover up my adhesive that I use. Plus it gives me a stronger hold since there's nothing hardly to hold on to. And then I will do the same on the other side. I just won't make you watch it because that washi tape it's one of those that it stuck to itself. So I was constantly fighting it and it took forever. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and start putting my layout together. And the first thing I was going to do was lay everything out. And then I thought, I'm just going to put it all together. But I did start laying the main portions out. This is where I realized I need foam behind my my pre-made cluster. Now, normally, and this is one of the things that we found out recently is a little bit of confusion. For the cluster class, we don't make clusters to be stored and then used later. We were making the clusters to show how elements add to each other, the small, medium, and large theory, or the tucking theory, or it's okay to cover up theory. So it's just one of those things that was a little confused, is everybody thought that the class was about making pre-made clusters. And that wasn't it at all. It was just it was a beginner's guide to creating clusters for your layout, is what it was. So anyways, I'm going to go ahead and add some more tear and tape to the back of my photo mats, just because, again, that's strong adhesion and I don't have to hold anything down when it comes to all this texture. And I am a-okay with that gold leaf going up into Nana's, into Nana's torso, because you can see her very well, and I think it draws attention to her. I love Nana. So anyways, it's very rare that we get all the photos and everybody in the photo. So I cherish every single one of them that I get, especially when we have 3 generations in this photo. So I absolutely love photos like this. So I'm tucking and weaving my wood grain or my tree rings, as well as my mixed media leaves. I do love how they look. Now, they're not as bright as they are, but the mixed media that was printed on them is still there. I'm also adding the greenery and the tree rings, so that way it tells my story. Now, I didn't realize that I had a bar of, I think they're cutting boards. I had no idea. And it says, gather, eat, and something else in there. I'll show that. I hope it doesn't say lunch. I'm not really sure. Gather and eat lunch. Anyways, I didn't even pay attention to that. I really didn't. All I paid attention to was it says family together and then the gold leaves. And I just really wanted to do an outdoor layout. That is all, in all honesty. I didn't even pay attention to the cutting boards, which is fine. We had snacks on our trail. One of the things I wished I would have stopped over on the left side. I wished I would have stopped right there with that large tree ring and not kept building on top of it. But I do keep building on top of it, and it is okay. But looking at it right now, I wished I would have stopped and not added these last two tree rings. It took away from, I just feel like it's going too far over, in all honesty. I just feel like that's a little bit too much for me. But I am ripping apart some of the leaves and just making sure that, especially when some of it's going to be tucked under, so I might as well use it as a single leaf somewhere else. And also too, I'm just trying to use up these tree rings. So that's why I was trying to get as many on the page as I possibly could. And now the last thing I'm going to do to finish this layout off is just add a little bit of gold splatter to share that gold throughout the layout, instead of, bam, I have gold on my layout, but really I don't. I just added it as a secondary type of deal. So this way it brings it all together. And here is the close-up of everything. And I'm okay with that cluster over there on the left. It's okay. Gather, eat, and laugh. Oh yes, I like that. So, and I think that the cluster looks really well, especially when I added a little bit more personal touches to the layout. I could have covered up all of those cutting boards with a tree ring. That definitely would have been a better spot for those left-sided tree rings. Thank you, Peace Craft Love. Thank you so much for this sketch. I really did enjoy working with it. Be sure to check out the two links that I have down below. One is for the playlist for everybody that is here on YouTube playing along with these sketches. And the other one is the Facebook group, so you can go and check out everyone that doesn't have a channel that are playing along with these sketches. All right, you guys, thank you so much, and I will check y'all later. Bye.